Everybody ready? Well, good morning. Welcome. We want to get the meeting started, so if everybody could take their seats, please. All right, so we're going to call the meeting of the Ventura County Transportation Committee to order today on February 6th, 2006. Welcome, everyone. Start off with Supervisor Parvin. Would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Chair Judge,
Here.
Vice Chair McQueen-Lejeune.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson. Here. Commissioner Crosswhite.
Here.
Commissioner Enegren.
Here.
Commissioner Engler.
Here.
Commissioner Gorell. Commissioner Halter.
Here.
Commissioner Lang.
Here.
Commissioner LaVere.
Here.
Commissioner Lopez.
Here.
Commissioner MacArthur. Commissioner Parvin.
Here.
Commissioner Tremblay.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now comes the time for the election of chair and vice chair, although the chair is sitting to my left, and she's going to slide over, and I get to go find a seat in the back. It has been my honor to serve as your chair for the last year, and I appreciate all the stuff we've done, and I'm really, really happy that we're getting that bridge built. Thank you.
Chair Judge, I'd like to make a nomination.
Go ahead.
I would nominate Vice Chair McQueen-Lejeune to serve as our 2026 chair and Supervisor Parvin to serve as our 2026 vice chair.
Second that.
And thank you for your year of service.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you take roll?
Commissioner Broggie? Commissioner Anderson? Yes. Commissioner Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Engler?
Yes.
Commissioner Enegren?
Yes.
Commissioner Halter?
Yes.
Commissioner Judge?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner LaVere? Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner MacArthur? Commissioner Parvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Tremblay?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Judge?
Yes.
Chair McQueen-Lejeune?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. And
I
thank
look
you.
forward to it.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve as your vice chair, and thanks to our past chair for your leadership and guidance. I really appreciate being able to sit next to you and watch you at work. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's not anything else, we'll go to the next item, number 5. We have a ceremonial calendar. This is RATP Employee of the Year.
Thank you,
And-
Chair Lejeune.
Great.
This is, and congratulations on becoming chair, and congratulations, Commissioner Parvin, for becoming vice chair. And I did just want to thank Commissioner Judge for his service as chair this year. So this is an exciting item celebrating the RATP Dev Driver of the Year, the VCTC Inner City Driver of the Year. And the driver of the year is Jerry Anderson. And would you mind waving to us, Mr. Anderson? And thank Jerry Anderson is the lead road supervisor for RATP Dev and a graduate of RATP Dev's Certified Instructor Program. His long career reflects decades of leadership, service, and dedication to people. Before joining Roadrunner, RATP Dev, Jerry worked as a regional manager with Kmart in Goleta. I was actually born in Goleta before it was a city, so I remember that. I know that Kmart. After retiring, he brought his strong work ethic and passion for serving others into public transit, starting as a part-time bus operator and steadily advancing through the ranks through reliability, performance, and commitment. Today, Jerry is a respected supervisor, mentor, and instructor who has personally trained more than 175 employees. He has played a key role in shaping the organization's culture, professionalism, and focus on safety. Known for his enthusiasm for the fleet, ranging from the 4,500 MCI coaches, the CRT LE buses, and the new electric vehicles, Jerry embraces innovation while honoring the craft of quality and transit service. Jerry also has served on the emergency response evacuation team, assisting during the Thomas Fire and the Montecito landslides and the evacuations along the Highway 101. A proud father of 5, grandfather of 9, and great-grandfather of 3, Jerry extends the same care and respect he has for his family to his colleagues, trainees, and passengers. He often says that what he values most is supporting the community through transportation and teaching others how to do it well. Recently, Jerry achieved the prestigious 2 Million Mile Award and was named RATP Dev USA Employee of the Year. So, wow, that's quite an achievement in and of itself. Further recognizing a lifetime of exceptional service. And his coworkers also share just a few sentiments about Jerry. June Martinez, safety and training manager, says of Jerry, he is deeply committed to safety, the company, and the people he serves. His heart is on the wheels. Christian Chavez, a certified instructor, says of Jerry, Mr. Jerry is an excellent leader who ensures we operate safely and learn from every mistake. That's good advice for all of us. Anthony Parker, certified instructor, describes Jerry as a man of integrity who leads by example and inspires others through his passion for customer service. And our own Gloria Housley, the general manager for VCTC Intercity and RATP Dev, says of Jerry, he's the kind of leader every organization hopes for, knowledgeable, committed to safety, and always going above and beyond. So again, let's please acknowledge Jerry as the RATP Dev VCTC Intercity Driver of the Year and the RATP Dev Driver of the Year. Thank you. Would you like to say a few words? Jerry, would you like to say a few words? Jerry, would you like to say a few words? Please.
Yes, please, come up to the podium.
Yes, I just look forward to this next year. We've got some new programs going into effect, and I'm really excited. I think with our leadership with Gloria, June, Francisco, I think we've got a good team that's really committed to safety and customer service here now. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great year this next year. Look forward to it.
Well, thank you again for your service. And I think I've seen you a few times when I've ridden to Line 50.
Oh, yeah, we've met.
You helped me put my bike on one time, and I appreciate
Yeah,
that
I remember that, yeah.
when I was learning it. Do you mind if we take a photo with the chair, vice chair, and immediate past chair up front?
Okay.
We want to present this certificate to you.
Hi, you clear?
Madam Chair, may I just say really quickly, I just want to congratulate Jerry I have the pleasure of getting to work with your daughter Sabrina, and we joke that we're family. We're Andersons. We're cousins, right? But also Jerry, through the years, my riding the bus quite a bit has been there for me and helped me quite a bit. And I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like it should be Employee of the Decade with everything that we just heard. But congratulations and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? Any other comments? If not, we'll move on to the next item. Great, thank you. We're going to move to public comments. These are comments not on the agenda. And so do we have any public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to the Caltrans report. Ms. Roberts, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning and congratulations, Chair McQueen-Lejeune, and thank you, immediate past Chair Mike Judge, for your service. Good morning, Commissioners and Director Erickson. For Caltrans, the good news is that we are continuing to make progress on all of our projects that's listed in our project status report, whether they be in construction or the various stages of project planning and development. And with the January proposed state budget, our work will remain steady for the upcoming next fiscal year of 26-27. Last month, Caltrans attended the CALSTA, which is the California State Transportation Agency Leadership Summit, which was hosted by our Secretary, Omar Shakin. And CALSTA and Caltrans remains committed to meeting the priorities of the administration focused on safety, climate action, and innovation. And in alignment with the CALSTA policy on road safety, to reduce fatalities on state highways by 30% by 2035, our District 7 safety team, who I think many of you have interacted with, continues to focus on safety improvements on corridors such as 126 and the 118 and any other spot areas. And so we do appreciate VCTC and all of the commissioners for engaging with us and bring to us the attention of the needs of your communities, because it is on the ground that we serve, and we appreciate the constant dialogue that we have and the recommendations for improvement. Lastly, as it is Super Bowl weekend, please celebrate well, but please drive safely, slow down, and don't drive under the influence or distracted. And go Seahawks. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Roberts? If not, we'll move on to commissioner reports. Any reports? Commissioner reports. Commissioner, go right ahead.
Comment, not a report. Is that okay?
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. Very excited to announce that Monday we will officially launch the 2026 Government and Disability Summit. We're ready. This year's theme, Access That Moves Us, will focus on the 3 pillars of healthcare, transportation, and emergency preparedness. So to all of our wonderful partners in the room, get ready to hear from me and hopefully get your presentations ready. I want to have a lot of transportation content this year. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We're going to move to our executive director report. Mr. Erickson.
Thank you, Chair McQueen-Lejeune. Welcome again, Vice Chair, Commissioner Parvin. And I just wanted to again thank Commissioner Judge for his service as chair in this, I think, productive but also challenging year. Appreciate his leadership and guidance, and I'm grateful for all of you as commissioners for the time you put in to help keep Ventura County moving, our vision statement at VCTC, with the many various projects and partnerships that we have and continue to, I think, build upon and thrive. Also, it's the first day of the Winter Olympics in Italy, which is always kind of exciting, I think. As we know, the Olympics is coming, the last of the big events, first the World Cup, then the Super Bowl here, and then the Olympics in 2028. And happy to report that at next month's meeting, we'll have Kome Ajisi, the CEO of SCAG, making a presentation to us on SCAG's Olympic activities, so our March 6th meeting, just a little sneak preview of that. You have your executive director's report in front of you. I just wanted to highlight a few things. Next slide, in my executive director's report. Our continued outreach program, led by Darren Peshka, and participated in by many of my fantastic team. There was a biking tips e-bike safety rodeo recently, and both Caitlin Brooks and Claire Grassi attended. This was an event that was sponsored by Commissioner Supervisor Gorell, and it was, I think, the first event of its kind, and was well received, and just again reflects VCTC's presence throughout the whole county, and very excited to see more bike safety events occurring. It's something we can't really overemphasize, especially with the preponderance of e-bikes and some of the challenges that they create. Supervisor Gorell, sorry, I didn't see you. I just came. So it sounded like it was a really great event, and I was glad to see the turnout. So, next slide. And then you may have seen, if you look at our buses closely, the VCTC Boys and Girls Clubs Partner for Arts contest. This artwork is created by members of the 6 Ventura County clubs, Boys and Girls Clubs, and it continues to decorate the sides of VCTC intercity buses. This is now the 7th year that VCTC has organized this contest. And again, I want to thank Darren Peshka for her work on that. There's something about seeing these drawings on the bus that just always excites me when I'm riding the bus or just when I see it. The artwork was based on the theme, Riding into a Greener Future, Buses, Bikes, and Beyond. Which I think is kind of cool. And VCTC staff visited the clubs in Simi Valley and Moore Park to present the Youth Road Show on local public transit and various events. So I think it just exemplifies our outreach efforts in conjunction with our transit partners, Gold Coast Transit especially, the largest transit provider, as well as the different city operators from CAT here in Camarillo to Simi Valley Transit, to all our partners, including Metrolink, and as you'll hear about later too in our transit updates, the Lausanne Pacific Surfliner corridor. Next slide, I think that's it. So that was the main part of my report. I did want to note you're going to be hearing the Unmet Needs annual hearing later, presented by Transit Director Claire Grassi. And as I mentioned before, the unmet needs process kind of holds a special place in my heart, having been involved in transit a long time, because it really deals with the money that funds really most of VCTC's budget, the state sales tax revenue that comes from TDA, or the Transportation Development Act. And I've noted before, this measure was passed in 1971 and signed by then Governor Ronald Reagan, a quarter-cent sales tax increase statewide that went to transportation and transit. And it has, in many ways, been the lifeblood of public transit and transportation revenues, generating over $1 billion a year now in the state. So it's an annual process we do. Claire will talk more about it. But one of the recent projects that you all know has been very successful has been our service between Fillmore and Moore Park. That was based on input over the years for that, and it's happy to report that it's doing quite well and continues to do well when many other transit lines and different pieces of service are struggling. So we're very happy for that piece of service. And I know we have a lot of items, so I'm going to stop now and go on to the next item. But thank you all again.
Great, thank you, Mr. Erickson. We're going to move on to question. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
There are not, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Is there a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I'll motion.
Second.
Great. Madam Clerk, will you take the roll, please?
Chair McQueen-Lejeune,
Yes.
Vice Chair Parvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Crosswhite,
Yes.
Commissioner Enegren,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorell,
Yes.
Commissioner Halter,
Yes.
Commissioner Judge,
Yes.
Commissioner Levere,
Yes.
Commissioner Long, Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner MacArthur, Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Tremblay, Commissioner White.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar. These matters are considered routine in nature and are enacted in one vote unless a commissioner would like to pull an item, any items to be pulled. Okay, and before we take a motion, we do have public comments. So we have a public comment for item number 11F. That item has been provided to the commissioners and will be added to the packet after today's meeting. And then we have two additional comments. We'll take the first one, Pedro Chavez from One Step Alaves.
Good morning. Thank you, commissioners, and congratulations again, Judge, Mike Judge, for your service to the commission, and congratulations, Martha LaQueen Lejean, for your ascension to the chair of the Ventura County Transportation Commission. My name is Pedro Chavez. I serve as the executive director of One Step Alaves. We are a youth development organization located in Fillmore, and we serve youth throughout the Santa Clara River Valley, primarily in communities of Piru, Fillmore, and we've just expanded further into Santa Paula with our partnerships through the Santa Paula Agriculture Museum, providing services there for our youth. I'm here basically to ask for your consideration and support for item 11E, which is a capacity building grant that we are fortunate to be a partner with CFROG on, and we're asking for support and the technical assistance of the Ventura County Transportation Commission to serve as a technical partner, as you are the leader in the region regarding addressing unmet transportation needs. Just to, again, I did want to share that I am not here representing the city of Santa Paula. I'm here as doing my day job, which is executive director of a nonprofit, just for the record. One Step Alaves is a nonprofit organization that started with an idea in 2007, became incorporated in 2012. We are a little over $1 million organization serving over 300 teens in the region, and we have built our capacity. And one of the main anchors of building capacity is ensuring we're providing, delivering services and resources to the teens we serve, but we also believe in the ecosystem. What about the families? What about the community? So we provide a lot of services to our community. We have a navigation center, a food pantry. But one of the core things that makes One Step a little bit different than most is that we engage our community in addressing community needs. And that's why we are a viable partner. And we're asking again for your support to alongside CFROG so that we can all work together, complement the work that's being done, and help build momentum to address the needs of those most disadvantaged in the Santa Clara River Valley. Thank you so much for your time.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll have Haley Ellers, and that's all for 11E.
Hello, thank you so much. My name is Haley Ehlers. I'm the executive director at CFROG, or Climate First, Replacing Oil and Gas. I'm also a grassroots local organizing and environmental advocacy nonprofit here in Ventura County, and I'm really excited to be working on this grant proposal with Pedro and his staff and young people at One Step Alaves. So I just thought I would briefly share a little bit more information about the project. So this is an application to the California Air Resources Board's Community Planning and Capacity Building Grant opportunity. Something that's really cool about this grant application is CARB is recognizing that there's value in a project that maybe isn't, that's based on just having conversations, building planning opportunities, and building the capacity in local communities to get involved in decision making. So the project doesn't include implementation of transportation improvements. It's more just bringing people together in culturally and community sensitive ways to talk about what the transportation needs are. So The purpose of it is really to just make it, and this is a really important piece of CFROG's mission, is to make getting involved in local decision-making processes more accessible for the community, specifically for young people in the Santa Clara River Valley as it relates to transportation. Often when we chat with young people at One Step in the work that we've done with them on other environmental campaigns, the limited access to public transportation, the active transportation, and just like a general sense of isolation there is a big concern that comes forward. So this project helps to move from kind of common, one-time, more extractive community engagement that oftentimes agencies or other organizations are doing in order to ensure that plans are informed by community, but oftentimes we don't have the money or the capacity to ensure that it's done in a really like authentic and additive way that's built on building the capacity of the community rather than just sort of taking what they want, but better educating them on how this all will play out and how they can be involved. So there's three major tasks that we're working on planning for this proposal. The first is one that we're really excited about, which includes building the capacity of young people by offering exploration opportunities in career and in career pathways related to transportation, public works, planning, could be even just building and construction trades, anything related to transportation infrastructure. And we'd be really excited to offer workshops to young people that we recruit from One Step Olives and the larger community in the Santa Clara River Valley, and then offering them opportunities to see what careers, even in commissions like this, like offering them the opportunity to see where decisions are made. The second would be a participatory research that specifically looks at two aspects of transportation access needs related to climate
I don't mean to interrupt,
disaster.
but our timer wasn't set and it just went off. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. I didn't see anything, so I'm just, yeah.
That's okay.
So yeah, participatory research on climate impacts and healthcare access impacts. And then third is bringing stakeholder engagement together, bringing all the stakeholders that care about transportation access together to build a shared vision and ensure that resources aren't being duplicative, but more additive. So yeah, thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. We
Great.
appreciate your consideration.
Great, thank you for your public comment. Okay, so we're going to move on to the approval of the consent calendar. If there are no items to be pulled, can I get a motion and a second to approve?
Chair, I would like to pull item 11F. There was the letter that you referred to earlier from CoLab.
Yes.
And I thought it would give Amanda Fagan an opportunity to maybe address the concerns of the communications with ag growers in the area.
Okay, so before we do that, can you give me a process check? Can we approve the other items and have this discussion, or do we want to wait till the end and have the discussion for them all?
You can approve the consent calendar with that item separated,
Great,
so you
that's what I
could take a
thought.
motion.
Thank you so much. So can I have a motion and a second to approve items 11A through 11E, 11G?
I'll motion to move
Motion
those.
And through
second
I.
on the balance.
Madam Clerk, did you get that?
Roll call.
Yes, thank you, please.
Commissioner Anderson? Yes. Commissioner Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Enegren?
Yes.
Commissioner Engler?
Yes.
Commissioner Gorell? Yes. Commissioner Halter?
Yes.
Commissioner Judge?
Yes.
Commissioner Levere? Yes. Commissioner Lopez? Yes. Commissioner MacArthur? Yes. Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Tremblay? Yes. Commissioner White? Yes. Vice Chair Parvin?
Yes.
Chair McQueen-Lejeune?
Yes,
Thank you.
great. Now we can have questions for item number 11F.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Madam Vice Chair, for the opportunity and the question. So this is item 11F. It's the monthly updates on the Santa Paula branch line. We did receive a public comment questioning the report related to public engagement that was conducted during the month of January. We did continue public engagement during January through our map-based community engagement tool, which remains live online. We also made a number of updates to the project website. All of the meeting materials from the December community workshop were uploaded along with videos and updates that were made to the project website. We also hosted the 9th project development team meeting on January 15th. But while those items were completed in the month of January, it should be noted that the public engagement activities for the project are designed to keep pace with the technical work that is going on to prepare the master plan update and the environmental impact report. And when we completed the third workshop in December, the project shifted to a focus on the technical analysis of all of the comments that have been received to date through the 3 community workshops, through all of the one-on-ones, all of the letters that we received during the public scoping period, and the pop-up events and all of the other opportunities that were afforded throughout the year to provide feedback on this project. And so the team has taken all of those comments and they're going through and summarizing and analyzing and pulling together all of those comments for further technical analysis. So the pace of public engagement during January was, by design, somewhat less active than it was in some of the preceding months. So the team has also been working on developing a new set of strategies to address some of the concerns that we heard from the agricultural community related to engagement and really reaching that community. And we're working on an amendment to the contract with WSP to provide some additional resources for engagement. We're looking at putting together a working group of agricultural stakeholders, and we're planning to start that in March, reaching out to folks because we really need, and the timing of that is designed so that we needed to have something for them to actually react to. So collecting all those comments, beginning to analyze the impacts, and developing strategies to address the concerns. So with that working group, we'll actually have something for them to look at and react to. We're also looking at adjusting the schedule for completing the project, we were planning to bring the environmental impact report for public release this summer with an adoption later this year in November, December timeframe. But given all of the competing workload of the commission, not the least of which is the 101 HOV lane environmental documents, which are also tracking toward release this summer, we felt like it made sense to stagger those releases, both for our own workload's sake, but also for the public not wanting to overwhelm with those 2 major environmental documents at the same time out for public release. So all that being said, we'll be back in March with an amendment, a schedule adjustment, and some additional strategies for primarily an agricultural engagement that we will be bringing for commission consideration in March. Thank you.
Thank you. She answered all of my questions.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is a receive and file, so we're just going to accept it as a receive and file since it's outside of the consent calendar events. We'll move on to item number 12, fiscal year 2026-2027 Transportation Development Act, Unmet Transit Needs, public hearing. So this is the public hearing. Please present the report, Ms. Grasky.
Good morning, Chair McQueen-Lejean. I will be presenting the unmet needs item. Okay, so just to give a bit of background on the unmet transit needs process, it's part of the allocation process for Transportation Development Act or TDA funds. The TDA is comprised of State Transit Assistance Funds or STA, and Local Transportation Funds, LTF. STA is statewide revenues on diesel tax, and LTF is quarter-cent sales tax. And so these are part of the process, and I'll get a little bit more into who it applies to. So the unmet needs process applies to those cities that can spend money, TDA money on streets and roads. So those are cities that have a population under 100,000 and not within the Gold Coast Transit District area, as well as by separate statute, Thousand Oaks Transit, who is eligible as well. So those other cities besides Thousand Oaks are Camarillo, Fillmore, Moore Park, and Santa Paula. I'll just note that during this process, we, gather feedback countywide. So it's not just for these cities that we take feedback from. And I'll talk a little bit more about the outreach and feedback process. So to get into kind of the weeds here, so the definitions and the criteria are up on the screen. So what an unmet need must be is new or expanded service. And it has, for fixed route service, has to meet the threshold of at least 15 comments. And then for dial-a-ride service, we need to have at least 10 comments. It also must be considered reasonable to meet in order to be considered an unmet need. So there have to be enough vehicles to support the service. The addition of the service cannot result in reducing other existing services. And then it also, of course, must be safe for transit vehicles to navigate the proposed route as well. Once it is instituted, a route is instituted, it must meet the farebox recovery guidelines within, I think, 3 years, and which is 20% of farebox of the route. So Martin mentioned some of the highlights that have happened since we, over the last couple years that have come from unmet transit needs comments. But in 2021, we added Metrolink weekend service. And then we did that on Saturdays. And then in 2023, we expanded it to the whole weekend. Now we have 2 round trips on both Saturdays and Sundays. We reinstated the service that went to Woodland Hills, to the Warner Center and VCTC Intercity. And of course, the Valley Express service between Fillmore and Moore Park, which is now has about 20% of all Valley Express fixed route ridership. And then it's also been a great way to hear about, areas that, bus stops that need to be improved. So there's been a number of bus stop improvements that have happened, by the feedback that we have received. And I'll just kind of note, not all of these comments would be considered an unmet need. If the service that goes outside the county or bus stops are not technically unmet needs, we still take these comments seriously, and they have resulted in measurable improvements for the community. Here is the process. So we gather feedback year round, and then once the process starts, we collect that all of that feedback we've received into this process. We're having the public hearing today. The feedback process, so the deadline to provide comments is the middle of February. Then we will analyze and respond and evaluate all of that feedback. We'll recommend the findings first to the CTAC, SSTAC. Then we'll bring back the findings to the commission either in May or in June. And then the recommendations get implemented the following year. So again, to talk a little bit about the calendar. So the feedback process started officially in December 15th and goes through February 15th. But of course, as I mentioned, anything we received prior gets included as well. We did a survey. It's in English, Mandarin, and Spanish. We've held community meetings, and today we are doing the public hearing. We use the website, email, social media, as well as a phone. But we've had other, such as I got some good feedback at the bike rodeo. So even comments that come through meetings that are not, or outreach events that are not specifically for unmet needs, we include those as well. Here is the list of the meetings that we've conducted so far related to unmet needs. So we've held 3 in-person community meetings, 1 in Thousand Oaks, 1 in Fillmore, and 1 in Camarillo, as well as a virtual meeting as well. And then, of course, today, the public hearing. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Great. Any questions for Ms. Smith? Yeah. Commissioner White?
I had the opportunity to sit on the Citizens Transportation Advisory Committee several years ago. I won't go into detail, but anyway, it was a long time ago. And it first came to us about how can we give information to VCTC about some of our needs out in the community who actually need the bus to get around, transit dependent, I call it. And it's changed quite a bit. And I think a couple of things that made a big difference was not just having public comments at our meeting, but open all year. So that really made a big difference in getting more information out to the people. The feedback to VCTC and Gold Coast, as you can see, has made a huge difference, getting information on what's out there for people who are transit dependent. I was at the meeting years ago if the Valley Express was brought up in Fillmore. I think there was 1 or 2 staff of us up there and one other person talking about that. And when she brought it up, she was very succinct, but also talked about how much it tied in with Fillmore and getting out in the community. And now we have that transportation going out there. So that's really wonderful. So again, I appreciate the open feedback that we get year-round, and not just at this meeting, but year-round. It makes a big difference. So thank you very much, staff, for following through on this.
Thank you. Great. Any other questions? If no other questions, we are going to open the public hearing for public comments. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments that have been received.
Great. I should have said the time is now 9:42, and since there is no public comments, we're going to close it at 9:42. And then we'll move on to, hold on just a second, let me get this. So there is there a motion and a second required, or is this a receive?
We just need to close the public hearing and receive and file.
Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. It is 9:42, and this is a receive and file. So thank you, Ms. Smith, for your report. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 13, draft 2025 through 2034 Ventura County Short Range Transit Plan. And this again, okay.
Good morning, Chair. Sorry. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Aubrey Smith, Program Manager for Regional Transit Planning, and I will be presenting the draft 2025 to 2034 Short Range Transit Plan. Joining me today is Jeremiah LaRose from our consultant team, Fair and Pierce, and we'll be able to assist with any questions that you may have. This item is presented as a receive and file. We will incorporate any feedback received today and plan to return to the March meeting with that feedback, incorporating the final report for adoption. So we'll get started. Over the past 2 years, our team has engaged riders, non-riders, operators, and stakeholders across the county to develop this draft plan. The result is a coordinated set of local and regional improvements designed to simplify the network, improve reliability, and strengthen connections. The following slides provide a high-level overview of the process and the roadmap for transit service in Ventura County over the next decade. To set the stage, this slide walks through the major steps that led to the draft SRTP. We moved from early outreach and existing conditions analysis into developing and refining recommendations, incorporating multiple rounds of input along the way. Throughout 2024 and 2025, we held listening sessions, rider surveys, and public workshops to make sure the plan reflects both community needs and operator realities. This iterative process is what produced the draft SRTP before you today. Next, I'll highlight the strategies that anchor the countywide and local components of the SRTP. Countywide, we're focusing on strengthening regional connections, unifying fares and eligibility, co-branding services, and building and improving partnerships. Locally, the plan calls for consistent 30 or 60-minute headways, which is how frequently the bus operates on a route, extending service to 8 p.m., streamlining routes in walkable areas, and distinguishing microtransit through pricing. Together, these steps make the network more legible and consistent while still respecting local control. And I do want to note that implementation of any recommendations contained in the SRTP is not required, as each operator retains full authority over their services. Operators can determine which, if any, recommendations to pursue based on local priorities, of course, community feedback, available resources, and respective governing body approval. So here we look at the near-term improvements proposed for local fixed route service. Cities across the county, including Camarillo, Moore Park, Santa Paula, Fillmore, Piru, and Thousand Oaks, would see streamlined routes and more regular headways between 30 and 60 minutes. These refinements make short local trips easier while also improving the reliability of connections to regional routes. This slide focuses on the proposed realignment between Simi Valley, Moore Park, and Thousand Oaks. The idea is to create direct, more frequent service between Simi Valley and Thousand Oaks while keeping Simi Valley's existing Route 10 operating between Moore Park and Simi Valley. That shift improves regional connectivity, but it does leave a gap between Moore Park and Thousand Oaks that would require additional funding to address. Overall, the realignment simplifies the network and strengthens key travel corridors. The consultant team also looked closely at how to streamline our regional connections. The recommendations here overlap east of Moore Park College between Intercity and Simi Valley's Route 10. They increase frequency also on Intercity Route 77 and improve the consistency of Metrolink-connected services west of Moore Park. These adjustments create smoother transfers and more coordinated regional mobility. Looking further ahead, this slide lays out the long-term vision for the fixed route network. The goal is regular, predictable service with at least hourly frequencies throughout the day, improved frequencies on Intercity and Simi Valley service, and more robust evening and weekend service. These upgrades build the foundation for a more reliable, easy-to-use countywide system. To support effective service design, this slide explains why matching service types to land use patterns is critical. Fixed route service works best in dense, walkable areas with steady demand, while microtransit and dial-a-ride services are better suited for lower density neighborhoods or off-peak periods. Fairness and eligibility should reinforce this right mode in the right place approach, helping preserve ADA capacity and guiding riders toward the most appropriate service. Overall, it's a balanced model that supports performance and clarity for riders. And finally, we close with the broader strategies needed to support successful implementation. Pairing service changes with refreshed marketing, strengthening partnerships with employers and community groups, and improving data monitoring all help the system adapt and stay responsive over time. These actions and the collaboration behind them are essential to a long-term sustained success. And before I conclude, I just want to thank all of our stakeholders, especially all the local operators who have been engaged since the beginning of this SRTP development, in addition with all their other work responsibilities. So I just want to express appreciation for all those folks. They have a lot on their plate, so they're really engaged during this process. And that concludes my presentation. More than happy to answer any questions or take any feedback that you have.
Are there any questions? Questions? Okay, Mr. Engler.
Thank you, Chair. And thanks for all the hard work on this. It's hard to integrate all the different programs and different systems. What efforts are we making to help the public navigate the different services that are available from, all from a fixed route to on demand to intercity? Feedback I get from the public is it's very hard to figure out how to access all those different organizations.
Yeah, sorry. Great question. And actually that kind of aligns with what we're going to be planning to take to our Transcom committee as far as establishing a marketing subcommittee. So that was a big theme since identified in the coordinated plan, as well as the TIES study, and obviously through our engagement with the stakeholders during the short-range transit plan. So this is something where this marketing subcommittee, which will will look at things like how can we improve marketing region-wide, as well as tying those initiatives back to local community, local community activities, as well as looking at how branding services can be a little bit more identifiable and kind of also engaging community organizations and letting them know what services are available. This is something we actually hear frequently at CTAC and SSTAC is, we hear about these other programs and initiatives, and then there are folks that are part of these communities want to know more. They want to know, how do I get from, Camarillo to Santa Barbara or what may be. So we're going to be establishing a marketing subcommittee to kind of expand our outreach and just getting the word out about the transit services and what people are able to take.
Yeah, I think, we as a public transit are sort of in competition with private vehicles. So as much as we can do to make it as transparent as possible to be able to compete on that level is, I think, an important aspect of what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Great. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. You asked for feedback, Aubrey, so here you go. First of all, let me just say thank you to you, to VCTC staff, and to Farron Peers and Jeremiah for your work. I know that Jeremiah and Martin were in front of our city council back in November presenting the draft plan. The plan at this point proposes, and this is pursuant to the PowerPoint provided to our city council, to end direct service, end fixed route service into the southeastern portion of our city, and to eliminate it, and to add in fixed route services in other areas of the city. The southeast area of our city also includes Leisure Village, which, as you may know, is a senior community, a couple thousand homes, many thousands of residents. It's very large. Many of those residents are mobility challenged. They do not drive. They are highly vulnerable, and they are highly, and I like Commissioner White's phrasing, highly transit dependent, and particularly on fixed route. So thanks for that, Jim. As more community members from Leisure Village became aware of the proposed changes, there was extensive outreach from the community voicing concerns about the proposed loss of service. I'm on my 10th year of the council. I asked somebody one day, and I got many calls and emails. I said, "How did you get my number?" And which is always out there. I put my number, and they said, "Oh, well, your name and your number were on the bus benches." So that's the first time I think I've ever had my name and number on bus benches. I'm not quite sure if I'm discomfited by that, but in any event, it's Friday, so I thought I would add it. No, that's fine. I'm happy with that being out there. But bottom line is that there are many community members who prefer the fixed route service and like the idea of being able to connect to more parts of the city without the need to use dial-a-ride services, which are also available in this area. So while, Aubrey, I know the staff report clarifies that the implementation of any community-specific recommendations isn't required, having a document that proposes elimination of a community service can cause real undue concern for that community. It's likely, it seems to us, it seems to our city staff, that it's likely that the cost of providing increased dial-a-ride services to the Leisure Village community that would typically use the fixed route service would be similar in cost. And so there's a preference there to maintain a fixed route service in and out of Leisure Village while also adding the additional bus service proposed by Farron Peers. So this is an ambitious proposal for a lot of transit operators, including Camarillo, and any implementation is going to require review and approval and direction to proceed from city councils, as you've noted, as well as additional public outreach and input at the local level. I will say personally for myself, based on the extensive input I've received, I do not support the recommendation to eliminate fixed route service to the southeast area of the city. What we have done, and I provided to VCT staff members just before the start of the meeting today, and if any commissioners want copies, we've asked for recommended change, we've recommended and asked for changes to page 87 of the draft SRTP, and specifically striking recommendation number 2, which proposes discontinuing the existing fixed route service. And instead, recommendation would be maintain a fixed route service for the Leisure Village community. That'll require additional changes. If you do that to the Camarillo chapter, I'm hopeful that Fair and Peers could work with city staff to quickly review and make updates where needed with hopefully little disruption to other Fear and Peer, sorry. I always stumble over that, Jeremiah, I apologize. Assumptions. Again, I've provided copies. It's in both the sections entitled Camarillo Area Transit Service Recommendations and Route Changes. And again, if any commissioners would like copies of this, I've already provided copies of our requested language changes to Aubrey and VCT staff. And with that, thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Tremblay, for the additional information. Any other questions? Can we go to Mr. Erickson?
Well, commissioners.
Okay, Commissioner Enegren.
Thank you. So the proposed plan in Moore Park takes the bus loop and cuts it down to a main central circle. And our concern is that if we look at the eastern side of the city by the college, students going to the high school don't have any transportation that way. There's no school bus that takes them to the high school. So that would be a big thing we want to go back and look into a little bit more. And then also, just in general, Moore Park College, we're talking to the president, and he was saying that the college is made up of mostly people from Thousand Oaks area, Conejo Valley. So being able to get transit to that college would probably be a good idea too. That's the only comments I have. Thank you.
Great, Mr. Erickson.
Was there another commissioner?
Yeah, another commissioner, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go right. Go right ahead.
I have
Ms. Crosswhite.
a technical question. So right now we have a draft, and we're proposing to bring back a hopefully final adoption of the SRTP in March, correct? So how does that relate? Like, is the route that's in the SRTP, if this were to be adopted in March, is that the set route, or is it the concept? And because I know I also have some concern that even though we've tried, I don't feel like there's been enough public engagement for me to say that these routes are exactly what they need to be. So, and I think that's kind of what I'm hearing in some of the other cities too. So technically, what would adopting the plan next month versus what the routes look like, what is that process?
So with the adoption of the plan, that's just the route service concepts, just based on what the consultants recommended. Routes will exist and there'll be no changes unless the individual operators move forward with additional analysis and do the outreach required and all that. So this doesn't change any of these existing service today or after the plan gets approved, if it does.
So each of the cities could continue to work with staff on making sure that the routes were what they needed to be for each community?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Great. Any other commissioner comments or questions? Okay, Mr. Erickson.
Just quickly wanted to add, thank Aubrey and Claire and Jeremiah with Fair Peers for this process, and for the city staff and county staff that have worked to get this input. I've been doing this so long that I remember when the short-range transit plans were a required FTA document to get funding. And in my first job in Santa Barbara, it was my job to write one. And they said, if you don't write it well, we won't get funding. So it was a little stressful too. So they've removed that component. You get your federal funding still, whether you have a short-range transit plan or not now. But I still think they are valuable tools to show what options we can look at in kind of potential options to make transit better. And just hearkening back to Commissioner Engler's comments, I remember a few years ago when we did the X Games, and Commissioner White was very involved in that. We're going to hear from Jason Jewell from LoSan next item. But we really had I'd say a concurrence of the train operating well, the bikes, the buses, and I remember, Commissioner England, I think you made a comment along the lines of, if transit was like this all the time, people would use it a lot more. And that's the ultimate goal, is, we are trying to get people to have more choices, to not use their private automobile to the extent they do, and work together on this. So I just a comment and thank everyone for the time that's been put into this, I think important guiding document for the future.
Great. Are there any more questions, comments? If not, this is a receive and file. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for your presentation. And I did want to just say, Ms. Grasky, my apologies for calling you Ms. Smith. It sounded wrong to me both times.
No problem. I should have said something. I was filling in for Dolores, who is under the weather, so.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that as well.
Yes, right. My name was not on the report, so I apologize.
So we're going to
for
move
that,
to
too.
item number 14, expand peak hour interagency, intercity rail service to Santa Barbara update and cooperative agreement. Over to you for your presentation.
Thank you. And I will be doing this presentation jointly with Jason Jewell, who is the managing director for the LoSAN agency. So I'm very excited to be here, to be at this point. It's been put a lot of effort into this to get to this point. So just to give some background, we're here to talk about the increased rail service from Ventura County to Santa Barbara County, specifically looking at train during the peak morning hour. So prior to the pandemic, there was a train that began in 2018, and it ran northbound. It got there kind of early, around 7 a.m. But after the pandemic, during the pandemic, the service was cut with a lot of other service, and when it was reinstated at a different time because the service was a bit underperforming. So this is a comment. We do get this one through unmet needs every year, and it's been a priority of also Santa Barbara County for a number of years to reinstate this service. So we've been working on this for really the last 3 years, and so really kind of getting here to the finish line, which I think we're all very excited about. So we've been working with our partners in Santa Barbara County Association of Governments, SBCAG, working with LoSAN and working with Metrolink over the last couple years to come up with a plan. LoSAN did not have the equipment available, though they had this train slot. And so that's really when they had asked us to, begin working with Metrolink to begin the service, as Metrolink had equipment available and LoSAN did not. However, we were very close to getting this in place last fall, but when Metrolink used Amtrak as their contractor and they transitioned to a new one, to Alstom, the agreement that LoSAN had with Union Pacific did not allow for that. It was specifically stated that Amtrak was the one, that was allowable under the agreement. So that's kind of put a pause on everything. LoSAN worked with Union Pacific to have them review and, have an updated agreement, but Union Pacific, with their merger going on with Norfolk Southern, has their legal resources have been very tied up, and so they were not going to be able to get to even review the agreement until this quarter at the earliest. And so we went back to the drawing board. Luckily, LoSAN has had some, changes in terms of equipment and in terms of funding. I'll let Jason talk about that in a second. And so that's really led us to where we are today. We transitioned a couple months ago to going down this path, working directly with LoSAN to have them begin the service. And so.
Thank you. Sorry, we get a little organized here. Thank you, Claire, and good morning, Chair McQueen-Lejeune and members of the commission. As stated, my name is Jason Jewell. I'm the Managing Director of the Los San Rail Corridor Agency. And, I just wanted to indulge just a minute before we dive into the Los San Board direction that Claire spoke about. I just wanted to briefly touch upon the intercity rail service that we manage, as well as the corridor itself. So the Los San Agency manages the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner service, which spans the entire length of the Los San corridor, which is 351 miles long. We stop at 29 stations along the corridor, and we are proud to say that we are the nation's second busiest intercity rail corridor in terms of ridership in the nation outside of the Northeast corridor. So the corridor itself, as you may be aware, is a pretty unique corridor. There are 7 right-of-way owners, 2 freight operators, and two commuter regional rail services. And also the U.S. Department of Defense has identified it as part of the Strategic Rail Corridor Network, otherwise known as STRACNET, for its access to the Marine Corps Base in Camp Pendleton, as well as the Port of San Diego. So as Claire mentioned, for expanded service, we explore the possibility of subcontracting service to Metrolink and allowing them to temporarily use Los San Agency's track access rights that we currently have under agreement directly with Union Pacific, which currently allows us to run the Amtrak service. So the Los San team, as well as SBCAG, VCTC, and Metrolink worked together on this pathway when really 2 major milestones or events happened that created the opportunity that we currently have before us. And these events do tie into the Los San Board direction to prioritize the intercity passenger rail service for this expansion effort. So the first major milestone that Claire had mentioned is really equipment availability. Equipment has always been one of the primary constraints for the Los San Agency to be able to implement additional service north of Los Angeles. However, in late September, we received a pre-award authority letter from the Federal Railroad Administration committing to $27 million in a federal restoration and enhancement grant award to support the intercity rail service restoration. Now, this was the first federal grant award for the Los San Agency. We're really excited about it, and it goes directly to support our service restoration. And that service restoration, just real quickly, I wanted to mention is restoring our service. We were currently running 10 round trips after COVID, and this restores our service back up to 13 round trips between LA and San Diego. So I'm pleased to say that we have a fully restored service. We restored our 11th and 12th round trips back in March and June, as well as the 13th round trip we just recently restored on January 26th. And we were able to do this because we came to an agreement with Caltrans and the 2 other JPAs in California to redeploy equipment from Northern California to Southern California to be ready for this service restoration. And this equipment is the same equipment that is able to be used. There's going to be sufficient capacity to use this equipment for the service expansion. In addition, the other kind of major milestone event that Claire had mentioned is that we had learned from Union Pacific that a new operating agreement would need to be put into place that really identifies Metrolink as an alternative operator. And at that time, Union Pacific indicated that they would not be able to provide a draft of that agreement due to their resource needs on their national merger. And so that really became really time uncertain, recognizing that once we did receive a draft of that agreement, we would need to negotiate that agreement and work through that. So that pathway really became uncertain. So with those developments, back in November, the Los San Agency Board directed staff to prioritize the efforts to pursue Pacific Surfliner service as really the pathway for service expansion, which is including the 6th round trip to Goleta and the 3rd round trip to San Luis Obispo. So consistent with that direction, the Los San team, as I mentioned, worked with SBCAG and VCTC to develop a 12-month expanded service pilot that would implement 1 additional daily Pacific Surfliner round trip, which would originate in Los Angeles, operate through Ventura and Santa Barbara regions during the peak period morning commute time frame. I know Claire will get into some of the schedule and timetables coming up soon, as well as it will provide service to San Luis Obispo. It would provide a midday departure from San Luis Obispo all the way down to San Diego. So really just a great opportunity for us to be able to expand service not only to Santa Barbara and Ventura, but also along the entire corridor. So we really do think this is a great opportunity. We have worked together to develop a draft funding agreement in which SBCAG and VCTC will provide funding to support the estimated net cost of the service that directly benefits the round-trip portions of the service for their regions, as well as a contribution for an estimated net subsidy for reduced fare products, which would include a 10-ride pass as well as a monthly pass. The LoSAN agency would be responsible for the round-trip portion of the service between Goleta and San Luis Obispo, which we currently plan on covering with both fare revenues and net operating surplus funding that we currently have. So the LoSAN agency does intend to include this proposed service in our annual business plan and funding request to the state. The state has historically funded intercity rail service. We do plan on monitoring the performance of this pilot, including ridership, demand, revenue, as well as uniform performance metrics to really assess what's the best way to continue the service, and if so, the most important thing is to, if state funding is not available, to seek additional funding options to be able to continue the service past the 12-month pilot timeframe. So as previously mentioned, the expanded service pilot will provide this morning peak period train service. And again, Claire will provide a little bit more details on the coming slides as far as the timetables are concerned. Just wanted to mention as we move forward over to this next slide here. Sorry, I think I got a little ahead of myself as far as some of these talking points, but wanted to just kind of mention a few of the benefits that we believe that will come out of this pilot. And one of them is really cost savings to both SBCAG and VCTC, and that this is being proposed as a fixed cost pilot, so a fixed cost to both of the agencies, and it's roughly $2.2 million over the 12 months, which is substantially more cost efficient than the Metrolink option, which was, I believe, was in about the $3.5 to $4 million range. Also, is significantly less insurance exposure because we're able to use the Amtrak national policy coverage for railroad insurance versus Metrolink did have a $5 million self-insurance program. Some of the other benefits to the pilot proposal include, as I mentioned before, the utilization of train slots and access rights that the LoSAN agency has directly with Union Pacific that we can access immediately and start running trains immediately. It utilizes the Amtrak fare system and, as I mentioned, the proposed fare products for reduced fare products with the 10-ride and monthly passes to really streamline the Amtrak fare products. It also allows us to really expedite service faster than we anticipated and contemplated in our fiscal year plan. So the LoSAN agency originally had this service expansion plan for fiscal year 26-27 in our annual business plan, so this expedites that service. It also provides additional service opportunities around the World Cup, which is coming up right around the corner. So we think this will be a great opportunity to provide more service for that, as well as inform service planning for the 2028 Olympics. So regarding next steps, and I know Claire will get into that on coming slides as well, I do want to mention that just process-wise, we have received schedule approvals from all the host railroads. We have received approval and concurrence from the state to move forward with this pilot program. And while SBCAG plans on bringing an item to their board for approval this month, we also plan on bringing an item to our full board, the LoSAN Rail Corridor Agency Board, for consideration for approval on February 17th. So now I'll hand it back over to Claire to get into a little bit more of the details of the time schedule here.
Thank you, Jason. So up here you can see the schedule. So again, it does start in Union Station and much later than it did the last time. It started in the 4 o'clock hour last time. So I think this is definitely a good improvement. It will leave Moore Park at 6:31, Camarillo 6:43, Oxnard at 6:57, Ventura at 7:11, gets to Carpinteria at 7:37, and then Santa Barbara at 7:56, and Goleta at 8:11. So I think these times are much more in line with the commute pattern. You know, one of the issues the last time, the complaints was that the train went so early, there's not really a lot of traffic at that time. So I think this will be much more competitive with the existing traffic. And again, you know, responding to the community requests, but I think it'll have, you know, hopefully be, you know, better mode share, mode split on these with these new train times. And then you can see also in the highlighted in the return, there'll be this new train that Jason mentioned that leaves San Luis Obispo at 12:12, which is a gap in the southbound service. So that train that leaves Goleta to 33 is a new train I think will be great for the community at large, if, you know, benefit to Ventura County going southbound as well. But the return train that commuters would take is this train that leaves Goleta at 4:25. And, you know, gets into Ventura County at 5:26. If that train is too early, there's also this 794 train that leaves Goleta at 6:30. So I think, you know, the afternoon trains are, you know, have been already in place. And I think this service will be, you know, will meet the commuters' needs, but we also have the existing VCTC New York City bus service that complements this as well. So maybe the train time in the morning gets there a little too early for you or something, and then you can always take the bus, and vice versa in the afternoon. So that worked pretty well last time as well. So looking for that. So you know, so next steps here, you know, a lot of this happened since LoSan went to the SB CAG board in January. So we're very happy to see all this progress recently. So as Jason mentioned, they have received approval from the state. We're working to finalize the agreements. The agreement is, you know, before you for approval to allow the executive director to make the final negotiations. But the agreement is very, very close. And as Jason mentioned, they'll be taking it to their board this month, as will SB CAG. And he mentioned again that that UP has approved the schedule. And so really the next things are really working on the outreach, and where we'll be working diligently with SB CAG and with LoSan on that. And then the potential service launch would be in May 2026. So I just, you know, I want to thank LoSan and, you know, Metrolink as well. There's been a lot of effort that's been put into this. All of our commissioners that serve on both boards, you know, Commissioner White, Commissioner Undergren, Commissioner Engler, Commissioner Tremblay. You know, it's been a long process, and we appreciate LoSan, SB CAG, and Metrolink as well, just kind of sticking with it until we got here. So just really appreciate everyone's effort and very excited to get to this point. Was there anything else you want to say? Okay, and with that, we're happy to take any questions.
Any questions, commissioners? Any questions? Comments? Go ahead, Commissioner White.
Again, this is very exciting. It's I've had the opportunity to sit on the LoSan board for about 3 years now, and we've been talking about it constantly, and even not only at the board but outside the board. So I appreciate the work that the staff has done, and that they've looked into a lot of the information as far as, well, how can I get there? What time can I get there? All this other kind of stuff. There's transit-dependent students up in UCSB, and so they can take that bus now, where before it was a little difficult to take that bus. So I appreciate the staff and LoSan gathering all that information to put together. So thank you again. Great report.
Commissioner Halter?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, staff, for the report. This is extremely exciting, being the Deputy Mayor of the City of Ventura and also a business owner that's off Ventura Avenue. I see all too clearly the impact that it has on Ventura, on our workforce, and on the students that are going up to UCSB. But most importantly, it's the 25 to 30% of our workforce that's driving north every single day. And ironically, just last night, I was trying to do my New Year's resolution and go to the beach and just take time to relax for a second. And I chose exactly, well, the wrong 3 to 4 hour period of time to go north. And it took me from Seacliff back to Ventura, which is normally a 6 to 7 minute drive. It took about 1 hour and 10 minutes to do that. And then what I see from Ventura Avenue, it's about, as I try to get to my late afternoon appointments, is where the 33 hits the 101, it's already by about 2:30 every single day is backed up. And it takes a while until you pass 126 to get that stretch. So this is a big help. The more we could get people to take this would be fantastic. So thank you for all your good work.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
I just want to make a comment. I certainly praise the efforts. This is critically important for us. I know as the City of Oxnard, we're really pushing for alternative transportation for students, for workers. But also I'm glad, I think Jason mentioned it, we are doing a lot as a city to prepare for the World Cup. We have a generational fan base here in our city, and we are actively pushing for that. So this is, I'm so glad that you're focusing some attention to that, realizing what the World Cup is going to mean for our city and for the jurisdiction. We're going to do a lot internally ourselves to really enhance our transportation center in preparation for the visitors coming in. And we're working with other private partners to really celebrate the World Cup when it's here for our community. So I'm really just praise your efforts for that consideration. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, if there's no one else, we have a recommendation in front of us. I don't know if you have it to put up, but it's to authorize the executive director to complete final negotiations with the SBCAG and LoSAN and to execute the cooperative funding agreement between Los Angeles, San Diego, San Luis Obispo Rail Coordinator Agency and Ventura County Transportation Commission and Santa Barbara County Association of Governments in the funding of expanded intercity passenger rail service for a not to exceed amount of $2,219,240 and split between VCTC and SBCAG for a total of $1,109,620 each. Is there a motion and a second?
So move.
I'll second.
Great. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take roll.
Commissioner Anderson? Commissioner Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Enegren?
Yes.
Commissioner Engler?
Yes.
Commissioner Gorell?
Yes.
Commissioner Halter?
Yes.
Commissioner Judge?
Yes.
Commissioner Levere? Yes. Commissioner Lopez? Yes. Commissioner MacArthur?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Tremblay?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Chair McQueen-Lejeune?
Yes.
Vice Chair Parvin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, and thank you so much for your presentation. And we're going to move to item number 15, Freeway Service Patrol Tow Contractor Service Agreement, and that's going to be Mr. Kent.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Andrew Kent, Program Manager for VCTC, and I have a presentation for you on item 15, recommendation to the Safe Board to award contracts for Freeway Service Patrol Tow Contractor Services. By way of background, the Ventura County Transportation Commission serves as the SAFE for Ventura County. The California Legislature established county safes to encourage the development of a motorist aid system. Funding is provided by a $1 annual vehicle registration fee on all vehicles registered in the county. And motorist aid programs include Freeway Service Patrol, incident responder grants, and supporting the SoCal 511 system. FSP is a partnership program between Caltrans, the California Highway Patrol, and the local SAFE. It consists of a fleet of continuously roving tow trucks on congested highway segments during peak traffic periods, which provide rapid response to disabled vehicles, debris cleanup, and rapid response to collisions. The goals of the program are to reduce congestion and the incidence of secondary accidents, and all services are provided to motorists at no charge. So staff will return to the board in the spring with a comprehensive year-end report on motorist aid programs, but we did want to highlight some of the accomplishments of the FSP program over the past 5 years. Since the beginning of the program in 2021, FSP has provided direct assistance, either restarting or towing about 20,000 vehicles on US 101 and the 118. FSP has changed nearly 4,000 flat tires and assisted the Highway Patrol with about 2,300 accidents. We take in about $800,000 annually in DMV fees, and the program provides an annual social benefit of about $5.2 million in monetary terms, in terms of delay savings and fuel savings. So a little history. The Safe Board awarded the original tow services contracts in 2020, and the program began in the spring of 2021 with a 3-year term and a 2-year option. In 2024, the executive director exercised that 2-year contract option, and the Safe Board approved the release of an RFP to re-procure tow contractor services in September of 2025. We received 3 proposals by the RFP deadline in November, and in December, those proposals were reviewed and scored by an evaluation panel. Staff's recommendation for item 15 is to award contracts for Patrol Beats 1, 2, and 3 to Platinum Tow and Transport. The recommendation includes a modification to Beat 2 to provide extended service coverage. And at this time, staff is recommending to not award a contract for Beat 5 on the 126. To ensure we had a competitive procurement round, staff conducted extensive outreach to inform tow operators across the region of the RFP opportunity. We attempted to notify as many tow operators as possible in Ventura County as well as in neighboring counties. We used our social media as well as partner agency social media to try to get the word out. And our contact list for direct communications included some 50 tow operators in the region. And we invited as many tow yard owners and managers as we could get on the phone to our pre-proposal conference to inform them about the opportunity and to give them information and tips about how to submit a competitive bid. We released 5 RFPs, 1 for each patrol beat in our proposed deployment for 2026. The RFPs that were released for beats 1 through 3 were to maintain our existing service levels. And we also released 2 RFPs for patrol beats 4 and 5 with the hope of expanding FSP service onto the Ventura portion of US 101 and the freeway portion of the 126. An important change to highlight to our existing deployment is the use of service trucks in this RFP. The RFP for beats 1 through 5 required proposers to price out a mixed fleet of standard FSP record trucks and service trucks. Service trucks have been successfully implemented in other jurisdictions as a cost-saving measure. Only about 15% of assists require a tow, so service trucks can assist in about 85% of cases. They're outfitted with all of the tools required to offer basic FSP services, such as changing flat tires, jump-starting dead batteries, and providing a gallon of gas. And if a tow is ever required, service truck drivers can always request assistance from the wrecker on the same beat. We received proposals from 3 tow contractors. This table presents the proposals broken down by bidder and patrol beat. 3 proposals were received for beat 3, 2 for beat number 1, one for beat 2, one for beat 5, and we received no proposals, unfortunately, for beat number 4. The proposals were reviewed and evaluated by a panel consisting of representatives from each of the FSP partner agencies. The evaluation process was a best value selection, and scoring parameters included things like qualifications, work plan, proposed staffing, understanding of the program, as well as price. The table on this slide presents the panel evaluation ranking for the proposals by patrol beat and the 3-year contract totals. Ultimately, for beats 1 through 3, Platinum Tow and Transport was ranked the highest and also submitted the lowest bid for each of those beats. Platinum Tow is our incumbent FSP operator for Ventura County. And in the past 5 years of service in Ventura County, they have incurred no administrative penalties. They've held law enforcement contracts in the county since 2004 and have been a part of LA's FSP program since 2007. The evaluation panel noted their extensive experience, focus on customer service, and a high standard for driver recruitment. So with this procurement round, we were prepared to see a significant increase in contractor rates. As mentioned, Platinum Tow's proposed average rate per truck hour at $150 an hour for the first year of service. That represents about a 50% cost increase. And a significant portion of that rate increase is due to issues in the California insurance market, namely a lack of competition. Just to give you some idea, when we started the program, it cost roughly $4 an hour to insure a tow truck, and now it costs about $35 an hour to insure a tow truck. Platinum, because of rate spikes in the for insurance, they have requested terms be built into the contract to account for insurance rate spikes. After consulting with other FSP agencies, our own insurance broker, as well as counsel, staff is recommending the contract include provisions which would allow the executive director to grant a rate adjustment. And that rate adjustment would be limited to a max of a 10% increase annually, applied to baseline insurance costs. At this time, staff recommends that the SAFE Board not award a contract for Beat 5 on the 126. The hourly rate that was offered by the tow contractor that submitted a proposal for that beat would be more than a 100% rate increase over our existing hourly rates at half the service level. Awarding a contract at the offered rate would require significant reliance on our reserve funds. And it would also require that we operate well below the 3-to-1 benefit to cost goal for the program. Staff believes there are better alternative uses of those SAFE resources to better serve motorists, such as enhanced traffic enforcement. And we intend to return to the SAFE Board in the spring with an item to discuss funding CHP overtime targeted at the 126 and other rural highways. Expanding onto the 101 has been a program priority for some time. As part of the negotiations, since we did not receive a proposal for beat number 4, we requested that Platinum Tow submit an alternative quote combining patrol beats 2 and 4 with the implementation of one additional primary service truck. And this alternative would deploy 3 service trucks or 3 primary trucks, excuse me, over a geographic area that would typically be served by 4 trucks. So we would expect to see our performance metrics go down. However, Platinum is offering a discounted rate for operating the extended coverage with an additional truck. So we believe the trade-off is worth it. I should note that providing this extended coverage would require some reliance on our SAFE reserves, approximately $250,000 to $500,000 over 3 years. Currently, we have about $3 million in reserves. So staff is recommending approval of the alternative design for beat number 2. This slide presents staff's final FSP service deployment recommendation, which would go into effect with the board's approval of the contract awards for beats 1, 2, and 3. And this is a mapped version of the proposed deployment. The service levels for patrol beats 1 on US 101 and 3 on the 118 would remain the same. And beat number 2 would be extended to cover the Oxnard-Ventura portion of US 101, which was planned for Patrol Beat 4, with a total of 3 primary FSP trucks. This is also what's known in other jurisdictions as a super patrol beat. So the recommendation is to approve the agreements with Platinum Tow and Transport for beats 1, 2, and 3, with a 3-year term and 2-year extension option, and to not approve a contract for beat 5 at this time. I would like to thank our partners at the California Highway Patrol and Caltrans for supporting the program and participating in the procurement, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions, Commissioner? Ms. Roberts?
Thank you very much, Andrew, for the presentation and the continued investment by VCTC on this valuable service to our motorists. I just have a question on the recommendation to not award a contract for beat number 5. Because you're saying the recommendation could be enhanced CHP, right? Service as a way to be there for assistance. And so my only question is if you've done kind of a cost-benefit analysis in terms of the CHP hours, right, and how it compares to what are the service hours and costs for the SFP contractor. And I'm only bringing this up also because as we're gearing up towards LA 28, with LA 28 being an event of national security significance, the CHP is going to be pulled into doing a lot of security detail during that time. So I think you need to just maybe consider the availability of CHP officers. And so I don't know if that's been done in your analysis, but just as you're moving forward with this recommendation to just keep these thoughts in mind. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I wasn't suggesting that the CHP over time would be a perfect substitute for FSP. Our initial conversations with the Highway Patrol have been very encouraging for providing service on rural highway segments in Ventura County. And in terms of benefit cost, when dealing with the Highway Patrol, it tends to be much more cost effective just because we don't have to finance vehicles and trucks. We're really just paying for the labor. And so in staff's analysis, we can make those dollars go a lot further.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Any? Commissioner White?
Just a comment, please. Thank you. I'm sorry to hear that we can't do anything for 126. I'm sorry to hear that we can't do anything for Highway 126. And I know it's expensive and stuff like that. It's often been referred to as a very dangerous highway going up to Santa Paula. And I know we don't have phones there anymore, so I'm just concerned that we can't find something to do with 126. Thank you.
So just a quick response. We can re-release an RFP to provide service, FSP service on the 126. But to your point about accidents, that was part of our thinking. We were going to discuss this a little bit more when we brought the item in spring. But accidents are a much bigger problem on rural highway segments like the 126 as opposed to delays. And so that was part of our thinking for shifting resources in that direction to enhanced enforcement.
Great.
I would just add that we will be monitoring this. I mean, this is something that we feel very strongly about, the 126 and the safety there too. So I'll be working very closely with Amanda and Drew on this project. Fortunately, we do have a reserve. We're conscious of not draining down that reserve too quickly, but we will be looking at those options as we go further. One of the challenges in this, as Drew noted, is just that it's kind of the capacity of vendors, and being a smaller county, there's a smaller pool of potential vendors to do this type of work. But we will continue to monitor it closely and
Madam Chair, if I also might mention that VCTC applied for a Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant earlier this year to conduct a multimodal corridor study for the 126 and a safety plan. And so the feedback we've received from Caltrans has been very positive on that project. And so I'm hopeful that we will receive that grant funding, in which case we could incorporate planning for enhancements such as a future release of FSP or other services for the 126. So this is sort of a placeholder for additional work to be done on the 126.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Crosswhite.
Yeah, I just want to sort of echo what others have said, to just make sure that we don't, but it sounds like we're not, but make sure that we're not just sort of leaving the 126 and going, a little extra enforcement will do it, but making sure that whatever solution we ultimately come to is best meeting the needs of the way increasing amount of cars along the 126 corridor. So thank you.
I should also note that a number of FSP agencies are currently lobbying the state for more funding for FSP. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we will have more funding to revisit expanding service.
Commissioner Engler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In terms of, I'll echo everybody else's concerns on the 126. I think that's a gap that we probably need to look to fill. I was just more curious than anything else. You see, as electeds, we see a lot of bid processes and everything. Can you go a little bit into why, in the bid process for all of these locations, that there was such a wide spread in the bids? In other words, in the beat one, 1.6 million from Platinum and 7.5 million from Roy's. Did you talk at all about why there's that wide spread?
There are a lot of tow contractors that haven't participated in FSP before. They have difficulty pricing FSP. It's something that that does require a little bit of experience and understanding to price it properly. In the future, we do want to try to do more outreach to our local tow operators and try to be a little bit more proactive with education. But in that case, for Roy's Towing, we believe that was probably just a lack of experience in pricing this kind of a program.
I would, if that's the case, then I would encourage you to really do that outreach and get maybe more realistic bidding going on, because that's quite a spread. There's three times the amount, actually 3.5 times the amount. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? No? Can we go back to the recommendation page, please? Can we go back to the recommendation page so I don't have to read it?
Can you put the recommendation slide up?
Oh,
thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that.
but did I just cancel out of it? I apologize.
Okay, that's okay.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
So we went through the recommendation page twice, so you all have seen that. So can I get a motion and the second to approve the staff's recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Okay, great, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, please take roll.
Commissioner Anderson? Commissioner Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Enegren?
Yes.
Commissioner Engler?
Yes.
Commissioner Gorell?
Yes.
Commissioner Halter? Commissioner Judge?
Yes.
Commissioner Levere?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner MacArthur?
Yes.
Commissioner Tremblay?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Vice Chair Parvin?
Yes.
Chair McQueen-Lejeune?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, and thank you, Mr. Kemp, for your report. Thank you. And Ms. Fagan as well. Okay, we're going to move to number 16, General Counsel Report.
No reports from General Counsel today.
Okay, we'll go to agency reports. We'll have Commissioner Judge with the SCAG.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Transportation Committee took an action to approve and forward the FHWA programming procedures for the FHWA administered federal funding. This item is critical to the administration of the recently approved CMAQ and STGB program, which is awarded over $1.25 billion across 132 projects throughout the SCAG region. We are looking forward to working on subsequent calls for projects with our members to further the goals of Connect SoCal. The committee heard two informational presentations yesterday. We had a very lengthy and in-depth discussion with our old chair, Darren Kettle, now the chief of Metrolink, and he provided a very, very comprehensive outlook on Metrolink services in the area. It was a very, like I said, a very lively debate. A lot of people were basically just showing that our Metrolink, we believe, in the SCAG area, and because VCTC is part of that, and we also are serviced by Metrolink, that Metrolink is lacking certain state funding. State has to come up with more ways to pay for Metrolink services so that we can have better service. And that was the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. We'll move on to Metrolink and SCRA, and that's Commissioner Tremblay.
We don't have anything this month. Bob, anything? No. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. How about LoSAN, Commissioner White?
Thank you very much. I'm not going to go into detail because we just had quite a great report from our staff and Jason. We will be attending the meeting in Orange County on February 17th. Sorry. And a special meeting on February 19th with the LA Working Group to talk about the future of LoSAN. That's all. Thank you.
All right, great, thanks. We'll go to a Coastal Rail Coordinating Council. That is Commissioner White as well.
Yes, thank you very much. The Coastal Rail Coordinating Council will be meeting on February 20th in San Luis Obispo. I will be attending in person. We only meet 4 times a year. Our next meeting after that will be in Oakland on May 15th. I do serve as vice chair of the policy committee and represent VCTC in a well-mannered way. Thank you.
Great. And we'll go to CalCogs. That's Commissioner Crosswhite.
Yes, and just before that, on the for SCAG, on Monday, the scholarship period opens for students who anyone can apply, but preference goes to students who are interested in planning, regional planning, urban planning, civil engineering, political science, public administration, sustainable communities, or related fields. And it's a $4,000 scholarship. So again, like I said, I'm asking everyone to help let students in your community know. We actually had a student in Santa Paula, maybe for the first time ever, who received one of these scholarships last year. There's 9 in the entire SCAG region that are available. I think they try to do 1 per region, and then there's sort of 2 to 3 floaters where it can be from any region. But just if you know of any students who might be going into one of those fields, you can let them know about this scholarship opportunity. Applications are due March 20th. And then for CalCog, potentially as early as March, the conversation about forming that nonprofit that I mentioned at our last meeting will be likely, unless there's any major opposition, it will be going to the board in March to consider approval of starting down that process towards the formation of the nonprofit. Also, there was a lot of conversation about potential legislative bills that are going to be coming. One related to the regional housing needs assessment. And so they're trying to get someone, and right now Solace is interested in potentially carrying a bill that would be to try to codify the REAP 1 planning funding into state law, right? Because we had the REAP 1 and we had the REAP 2, and it had a lot of benefit to our communities, but it isn't in state law. So it was considered a one-time program, but it really had a lot of benefit. And so that's one piece of legislation that we're going to be watching. There was also a lively discussion about the SB 79 cleanup. There's currently, I believe it's Bill SB 677 that's trying to propose some cleanup language to that. That's the bill that requires mandatory upzoning around transit zones. And so there's a lot of concern about places in that bill where there's some lack of clarity and some potential unintended consequences to certain communities in the state. And so there will continue to be a lot of discussion around that as the cleanup language is proposed, but just wanted to flag that as an issue that CalCog and I'm sure others will be interested in continuing to follow. And then finally, for SB 375, which we've been talking about for a while, SCAG is one of what they call the Big Four, the larger metropolitan planning organizations. And there's going to likely be a bill. They have someone who has put in a placeholder bill to make some proposed changes legislatively. Because the other process that was being proposed was that there would be a study, and then that study would basically be turned into the new administration that'll come in to decide what they want to do with it. And folks are going, we can't continue to keep waiting for someone to make a decision. There's at least some key things that need to be changed sooner rather than later. And so one of those big things is they're proposing that planning cycle horizon go from every 4 years to every 8 years. And so I think that the ultimate goal would be that you would do the sustainable communities on one cycle and you would do the RENA process on a separate cycle so that you're not having to plan for both of those things at the same time. And the number that they shared was the 4 largest metropolitan planning organizations in the state spend upwards of $100 million on this process every 4 years. And so if you could separate that out, you could use half of that money on the opposite 4 years to actually be implementing some of these projects instead of replanning 4 years later for the projects. And so that's really what they're, one of the big things that they're hoping for. And there's some other changes that will likely be in there, potentially some changes to the way the CEQA process works in connection with the Sustainable Community Strategy. But right now, again, it's all placeholder bill, so there'll continue to be lots of conversations on that. So thank you.
Great, thank you. And finally, we'll go to Calvans. That's Commissioner White again.
Madam Chair, I'll be on the road again, as Willie Nelson used to say, and attending the lobby days up in Sacramento, February 10th, 11th, and 12th. Hopefully meeting with Steve Bennett and other decision makers in Sacramento to talk about some of the concerns we have with California Vanpool. We last met in January, and our next meeting is February 12th up there, and we will be appointing a new executive director because our previous executive retired. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks. Any other comments before we adjourn? Nope, okay. So we will adjourn till our next meeting, which is March the 6th at 9 o'clock here at the council chambers. And so we'll see you next month. The time is now 10:53.